The champagne flute shattered against the marble floor, spraying crystal shards across her worn sneakers. Emma froze, her cleaning cart blocking the doorway as every head in the ballroom turned to stare. But it wasn't the broken glass that made her heart stop, it was the laughter. Cold, cutting laughter from women dripping in diamonds, their eyes gleaming with cruel amusement as they looked at her like she was nothing. Just the maid. Just the help. Invisible until she made a mistake. Emma had spent her whole life being invisible, and in that moment, surrounded by people who would never see her as human, she wondered if that's all she'd ever be. She'd been working at the Grand Riverside Hotel for 3 years, picking up double shifts whenever she could. Every dollar went into the same envelope hidden in her tiny apartment, money for her younger brother's college tuition. Jake was brilliant, the first person in their family who had a real shot at something better. Their parents had died in a car accident when Emma was 19 and Jake was 12. She dropped out of community college without hesitation, taking whatever work she could find to keep them afloat. Now Jake was a sophomore at State, studying engineering, and he had no idea that Emma survived on ramen noodles and worked 70-hour weeks to keep him there. She told him she'd gotten a promotion, that everything was fine. Some lies were necessary. The hotel job was usually manageable. Emma kept her head down, did her work, and went home. But tonight was different. The hotel was hosting the Richardson Foundation Gala, a charity event for the city's elite. Emma had been assigned to the top floor, where the overflow crowd mingled in smaller private ballrooms. She wasn't supposed to be noticed. "Oh my God, did you see that?" A woman in a silver gown turned to her friends, her voice deliberately loud. "The maid just destroyed a $200 glass. Probably costs more than her monthly salary," another woman added with a smirk. Emma's face burned as she knelt to gather the shards, her hands shaking. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I'll clean this up right away." "Maybe you should stick to toilets," the first woman said. "At least you can't break those." The group erupted in laughter. Emma's vision blurred with tears she refused to shed. "Not here. Not in front of them. Is there a problem here?" The voice was quiet but carried an unmistakable authority. Emma looked up to see a man in an impeccably tailored tuxedo standing at the edge of the group. He was tall, dark-haired, probably in his mid-30s, with eyes that seemed to miss nothing. She recognized him vaguely from newspaper photos, Alexander Richardson, the billionaire philanthropist hosting the event. The man whose foundation funded hospitals, schools, and scholarships across the country. "No problem at all, Mr. Richardson," the woman in silver said, her tone instantly syrupy. "Just a small accident." Alexander's gaze moved to Emma, still kneeling on the floor, and something shifted in his expression. "Are you hurt?" Emma shook her head quickly. "No, sir. I'm fine. I'm so sorry about the glass. Accidents happen." He extended his hand to help her up. Emma stared at it, shocked. Men like him didn't touch people like her. But his hand remained steady, waiting, and finally she took it. His grip was warm and firm as he pulled her to her feet. "What's your name?" "Emma. Emma Torres." "Emma." He said it like he was committing it to memory. Then he turned to the group of women, his expression hardening. "I'm glad you're all enjoying the evening. I hope you remember that this gala exists to support people in our community who work multiple jobs to survive, who sacrifice everything for their families. Who deserve dignity and respect. People exactly like Emma." The silence was deafening. The woman in silver had gone pale. "Emma, would you mind coming with me for a moment?" Alexander asked gently. "I'd like to speak with you." She followed him in a daze, away from the staring crowd, down a quiet corridor. He stopped near a window overlooking the city lights. "I apologize for what happened back there," he said. "You shouldn't have been treated that way." "It's fine," Emma said automatically. "I'm used to it. That's the problem." His jaw tightened. No one should be used to being treated as less than human. He paused. "I overheard you mention your brother's tuition once. You were talking to another staff member about picking up extra shifts." Emma's eyes widened. You heard that?" "I pay attention." He pulled out his phone. "Jake Torres, sophomore at State University, engineering major. Full tuition is about $30,000 a year." "How do you?" Emma's voice cracked. "Why would you know that?" "Because 3 months ago, I saw you reading one of his textbooks during your break. You looked proud and sad at the same time. I asked around." Alexander met her eyes. My foundation has a scholarship program. Jake qualified, but the paperwork was never submitted. If you'd applied, he would have received full funding. Emma felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her. I didn't know. I didn't think someone like him, like us, would ever. Everyone deserves a chance, Emma. Including you. He hesitated. I have a proposition. It's unconventional, but hear me out. Over the next 20 minutes, Alexander explained something impossible. His board of directors had been pressuring him to settle down, suggesting his bachelor status made him seem unreliable for the massive expansion his foundation was planning. He needed someone he could trust, someone who understood sacrifice and genuinely cared about others. He proposed a marriage, on paper, for 2 years. In exchange, Jake's education would be fully funded, Emma would receive a salary that would change her life, and she could pursue her own education if she wanted. This isn't charity, Emma asked carefully. It's a partnership. I need someone real by my side, not another socialite playing games. Someone who knows what matters. His expression softened. You have the biggest heart of anyone I've ever encountered, Emma. That's rare in my world. Emma should have said no. It was crazy. But looking into his eyes, she saw something she recognized: loneliness. He was surrounded by people but utterly alone. Just like her. Okay, she whispered. I'll do it. 6 months later, Emma stood in that same ballroom, but everything had changed. She wore a simple but elegant navy dress, her hair softly styled. Alexander stood beside her, his hand resting comfortably on her back as he introduced her to donors and board members. This is my wife, Emma, he said with unmistakable pride. The woman in the silver dress was there, her expression somewhere between shock and disbelief. She approached tentatively. Mrs. Richardson, I don't know if you remember me, but I remember, Emma said quietly. It's good to see you again. The woman's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I was cruel and horrible, and I've thought about that night every day since. You didn't deserve any of that. Emma surprised herself by feeling genuine compassion. We all have moments we regret. What matters is what we do after. Later, Alexander found Emma on the balcony, looking at the stars. Their arrangement had shifted into something neither had expected: real friendship, deep respect, and the first whispers of something more. Jake called today, Emma said. He got an internship at Richardson Tech. He has no idea his sister is married to his boss's boss's boss. Alexander laughed. Are you going to tell him? Eventually. Emma turned to face him. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible. You were never invisible, Emma. You were the only real thing in a room full of pretense. He took her hand. I should be thanking you. You showed me what matters. What's that? Kindness. Humanity. The stuff that can't be bought. He stepped closer. I know this started as an arrangement, but it's not anymore, Emma finished softly. Is it? No. His voice was rough with emotion. It's not. When he kissed her, Emma finally understood. Being seen, truly seen, was the greatest gift anyone could give. And sometimes the people society tells us to overlook are exactly the ones who change everything. The Maid and the Billionaire. The Invisible Girl and the Lonely Man. Two people who found in each other what the world had tried to deny them both: the simple, revolutionary power of being valued for who they truly are.